This podcast is protected under the laws of the United States and other countries. Unauthorized duplication, distribution, or exhibition may result in civil liability, criminal prosecution, and the wrath of the tall man.
Boy! Hey, let's talk about you, the ID10T community events at ID10T.com, like Russ Stevens, a.k.a.
Cat Bus Russ,
who has started a podcast called 90 for Chill, which Russ says is dedicated to movies with a runtime between 74 and 99 minutes, the time frame that I feel is ideal. Russ, I could not agree with you more. That is a fantastic idea. Russ goes on to say there are times you need a cinematic fix but don't have time for the latest Scorsese masterpiece or offering from a comic book universe. There's also times when you need a conclusion to prevent a binge costing you a whole night. My guests and I try to follow these guidelines as we chat up features that are definitely worth your time and are beyond easy to make time for. 90 for Chill, the podcast, can be found on all major podcast platforms at 90forchill.com, and that's spelling out 90, Ninety, 4 FOR, chill. So there you go. Thank you so much for sharing, Russ. Really great idea for a podcast. Events at ID10T.com for everyone else.
El temor de Dios es lo que ustedes no tienen. Tú eres el hijo de Satanás.
Hey, Johnny. What that Mexican mean a sick horse is gonna get us, huh?
He's quoting the Bible. Revelations. Behold, a pale horse. The man who sat on him was death. And hell followed with him.
Hello, and welcome to this Rewind Wednesday on I Dig Crazy Flicks presents 90 for Chill, the podcast with Cat Bus Russ. I am your host, Cat Bus Russ, and it's actually because of the Oscars that inspired me to finally reissue this episode about Michael Biehn, where I cover a film from the last 3 decades, I should say completed decades, so I don't have anything from 2020 forward, but I digress. Michael Biehn has never been nominated for an Oscar, and some would think that might be undeserved, because look at the hits that he had. He had The Terminator, Aliens, Tombstone. He was James Cameron's go-to guy during that time frame. I guess he was just, in a way, Harrison Ford light. I mean, he didn't seem as gruff as Harrison Ford, but he could do exactly the same things. This might be the CR hot take if you're a Rewatchables listener. Maybe Michael Biehn would be a better nomination for he could have been Harrison Ford than Luke Wilson. Now that I brought up that Harrison Ford comparison, it leaves me further upset with the Oscars since he hasn't won a Lifetime Achievement Award yet. But my primary frustration with the Oscars, well, I should say it's secondary, because Delroy Lindo did not win Best Supporting Actor. I mean, Sean Penn's already got a couple, and it's just supporting actor. Geesh. Sean Penn is not going to give Delroy Lindo the Michael Caine, Tom Cruise speech from the 1999 film's Oscars. As I played back that audio about Sean Penn, I soon realized that he robbed Mickey Rourke of the Best Actor Oscar in 2008, and imagine the different timeline if Mickey Rourke was considered a serious actor again. What is still criminal is that K-Pop Demon Hunters has 2 Oscars to its name, and I'm saying major Oscars, Best Song and Best Animated Feature, which, hey, I've heard good things about Zootopia 2, and I think that one probably stuck the landing. So, when I looked back on the animated features that have won the Oscar, I think the worst one that I could see was Frozen. So it's like, well, I guess I'll have to watch Frozen, but I kind of don't want to watch anything new from March. I have Pokemon Legends Z to A to catch up on finally. I've already blown the Ralts promo that came with it since I ordered it day one. And I've already watched 15 films in January, February, and this month already, thanks to B-Fest, of course. But hey, one way or another, I just didn't feel like watching any movies, but it's kind of also like, well, I've been meaning to put this episode back on the feed about Michael Biehn, and I suppose if I gotta watch a movie, I could watch The Abyss. And that is when I decided 2 hours and 20 minutes is not something I have with my hectic life between my part-time job and trying to find new work and hit the gym and everything like that. Thus, I realized, well, Underwater from 2020, the Kristen Stewart underwater horror movie, hasn't been reissued yet, and I'm partial to Leviathan, so maybe this is better than The Abyss? Rate and review and leave those comments for that statement, 5-star reviews preferably. So after the Abyss placeholder, I will be discussing 1991's Time Bomb, a action movie with Michael Biehn as an amnesiac assassin, 2006's The Insatiable, a Sean Patrick Flanery vampire comedy from 2006, and 2011 directed effort, The Victim, inspired by his work as the sheriff in Planet Terror and Thanksgiving, from the 2007 Robert Rodriguez Quentin Tarantino collaboration, The Grindhouse. I know I've been going on and on about how we've gotten to this point, so I'll wrap it up with my formalities, and I'd say if you want to skip the coverage of Underwater and get straight to your bean, that kind of sounded dirty. Skip forward to the 14-minute mark. So with that said, you can help the podcast out, aside from rating and subscribing on your favorite podcast apps, by subscribing to the I Dig Crazy Flicks Patreon. That's patreon.com/IDigCrazyFlicks. For $3 a month, you'll get yourself either a fridge magnet or waterproof sticker. I use those to promote my podcast at work without breaking any rules. Access to the original 90forchill.com, the podcast feed, so learn how I've become a better podcaster, or at least I hope. And a shout out on every episode as long as you're subscribed. So thank you, Dad. Thank you, The Scoop Staley, an underappreciated talent from AA Wrestling in Berwyn, and Tim Bates, who you can find on episodes about 1989's Bloodsport in Space, Just Arena, and 1988 horror comedy classic Night of the Demons. If $3 a month doesn't seem worthwhile to help me out, think about Ava the Queen Kitty. That's 3 tins of cat food for her. If I get 10 subscribers, she's taken care of for a month. I personally think the best way to help I Dig Crazy Flicks out is to come on the show and be a guest. If you have a movie, a theme, a director, an actor, as long as the content that these projects offer is off the walls, out of touch with reality, I'll happily chat with you about it. But if you got something a little more down to earth, like, a Richard Linklater, Ethan Hawke movie, as long as it's between 70 and 100 minutes, I'll give you at least 40 minutes on Zoom. So you can reach me at rusthebus07@gmail.com. That's RUSSTHEBUS07@gmail.com, where you can offer me that suggestion. You can also follow me on my social media. That's at CatBusRuss, primarily on Blue Sky, but I do show up on Threads and Instagram. And I have added a page on idigcrazyflicks.com where you can ask me anything and provide those suggestions. So all I have left is to thank my inspiration. Thank you, Station Marie Harden, for keeping an eye on me, keeping me out of too much trouble, at least not the bad kind of trouble. And I hope you're doing the same for everybody else you touched in your life. And I hope you are squeezing the ectoplasm out of the most jellicle of kitties, Skimbleshanks the one-eared angel. I guess don't squeeze him too hard, because he is quite the conversationalist. Without any further ado then, thank you for checking out I Dig Crazy Flicks presents 90 for Chill, the podcast in this case. I hope you enjoy the show.
Hold on to your butts.
Sorry that I forgot to mention one of the best things about I Dig Crazy Flicks on Patreon is that it is ad-free. I know it's going to screw up timestamps. If you do subscribe and I say, hey, skip to this mark, if you don't want to hear about Kristen Stewart underwater facing off against Cthulhu, But cutting out those ads are going to save you the same amount of time. So once again, that's patreon.com/IDigCrazyFlix.
Listen carefully. You are now 5,000 miles from land, and you're descending 7 miles to the bottom of the ocean. See you all in a month.
Here we go. All right, we're gonna do this. Let's do this.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how bad's my rig?
10. We drilled to the bottom of the ocean, and we don't know what came out.
Gotta get to the station.
How would we even get there?
We walk.
We're just gonna walk with insufficient oxygen across the bottom of the ocean.
You don't know what's out there.
Worst idea ever.
What was that?
Turn your lights off.
What is that? What is that?
What is happening?
There's something following us.
So I've just concluded watching Underwater, Kristen Stewart's film, released last year, just before the pandemic hit, and it probably wasn't really going to be much of a success financially anyhow, January dump date, what have you. It is pretty solid, you could say alien underwater type situation, very claustrophobic, very limited in where you can move and where the monster can get you. It even tries to pull in some Lovecraftian vibes, so it's not too harsh. I mean, it is a PG-13, despite, I think, 4 F-bombs, but the acting is solid. I hate to say it, T.J. Miller does a great job as the kind of comic relief. It takes itself pretty seriously, but it does its best to keep things light until the second act really kicks in. Good visual effects, great PG-13 violence. As for all these Lovecraftian vibes, it's definitely not, it's influenced, which kind of makes me think how much Alien was influenced on by Lovecraft. May have been more of an Aliens thing, so a bunch of commentary tracks I gotta listen to. So if you're just looking for a quick 90-minute flick, this is very solid. Could kind of getting rid of the ending kind of leaves it closed from franchise purposes. You're invested in all the characters, and they play the number one horror trope, the black guy dies first. You gotta at least appreciate them putting some horrific elements in a PG-13 flick.
And now, a feature presentation. Oh, very well. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Get ourselves some snacks.
You do not have to be like me, because I know that everybody's social media feed is bombarded with ads for the new guilt-free snack. But you're scrolling on social media, so you're curious about a lot of things. And fortunately for me, I have a pretty high batting average when it comes to trying stuff from online sources. One of those hits was Deutsch Snacking Dough. It's cookie dough you can eat raw, you can bake into cookies in under 10 minutes, and it just fills you up in a few scoops. I like to eat a pound, maybe 2 pounds of chicken wing in a sitting, and still there's the urge to go for that third pound. But with Deutsch snacking dough, you take a couple scoops, and it just settles me down, and I feel full. Free of the top 8 allergens, they're gluten-free, low sugar, and have 3 times the protein of any other dough out there. And it's plant-based. And as I say, I can eat 3 pounds of wings in a sitting if I feel like it. I am a carnivore. Needless to say, I was skeptical about plant-based snacking dough, but my skepticism was proven wrong. So if you go down to the link in the description of this podcast, it will take you to my portal and you will get 20% off of your order. So find your new snack today, Deutsch snacking dough.
Little Hand says it's time to rock and roll.
Bring the noise.
This podcast is protected under the laws of the United States and other countries. Unauthorized duplication, distribution, or exhibition may result in civil liability, criminal prosecution, and the wrath of the tall man.
Boy.
Thanks for checking out 90 for Chill, the podcast. This is where I usually go and give my content warning for the episode. But this time, I'm just apologizing that I was unable to get the guest to work out to do an ode to Kevin Smith. I hope you enjoy this replacement, an ode to underappreciated supporting actor Michael Biehn. You may know him best from the Terminator or Aliens, closely tied to James Cameron. There's a movie I really want to check out called The Fan. I just got to hit the Poetic Critic up for her Criterion Collection password, and maybe we can bring that up next week. But until then, enjoy the show.
Little Hand says it's time to rock and roll.
Bring the noise.
And welcome to 90 for Chill, the podcast. This is your host, Cool Movies Darth. You can find what I'm watching on Letterboxd. The username is CMDarth. Otherwise, if you need to use your Alexa or your Google Nest device, it's just best to ask for Podcast by Russ Stevens, and you'll get the show to play throughout your entire home. So, with all that said, this week, as I said, I did not get the lineup I wanted for the Kevin Smith episode, and I apologize for that again. I kind of had some slip-offs on my behalf in terms of scheduling, but I tried my damnedest. I was all the way up till, I'd say, 5 o'clock. I had hope. So it was quite the binge then over the next day to get at least 3 Michael Biehn movies in. But, you know, I got stuff lined up like that with DVD stacks. You know, we have a Sean Bean. I guess we could follow it up next week with that if something fails. I don't want it to fail, though, because it is spooky season, so I definitely need guests for the show. So offer me a movie, a director, an actor. This time I'm going to say horror movies, preferably under 100 minutes, but I can figure a way to make anything work. Just send an email to russthebus07@gmail.com. That's RUSSTHEBUS07@gmail.com, and we'll go and create some podcast gold. Fried gold, as Shaun of the Dead would say. Hey, that one would qualify for next month. So, with all that said, let me thank Stacia Harden for being my inspiration and keeping me going. Trying my best to pay her memory the proper respect that it deserves, and I hope she's still helping out all those she touched in her life. So, if you want to complain about the podcast, you can do that at CatBusRuss. Otherwise, rate and subscribe on your favorite podcast apps. 5 stars preferably. I will reciprocate. Let's fix those algorithms. I don't think I have too much more to say. It's kind of interesting recording this intro with the intro music going on by the Smithereens. Kind of makes me stay in order. So I hope you enjoy the show and enjoy the beans.
Meet Harry Balbo. Just an ordinary guy with an average life.
This new girlfriend I got, she's killing me.
She got a sister? Until...
I did you a favor, Mr. Balbo. If the media caught wind of you claiming you saw a vampire, they would turn your world into a circus.
3 pages of coverage. No mention of you. I'm the one that called the cops. I'm the one that called the cops.
Was she hot?
Amazingly. Wild. Almost feral.
How do I find her?
Geographic profiling. It's a computer model created to track serial killers. A complex algorithm designed to map the most likely area of an unidentified killer's dwelling place.
Well, how does this apply to vampires?
Well, what are vampires? They're serial killers. They prey on human beings. They only hunt in areas where they feel safe. Same way serial killers do.
I have a plan.
No, you're lonely, Harry. You want someone. Don't you want me, Harry? I'm yours.
You go back to wherever it is you got that bitch stashed, and you finish what you started. Come on, you motherfuckers. I know you're out there. Come and get me. Come on!
I'm going to go and get to my more thorough review in a moment. I just find it funny that this feature, The Insatiable, was directed by Chuck Konzelman and Carrie Sullivan, who are now responsible for a lot of the bollocks you see on Pure Flix. So, I guess Mary Magdalene was a whore, so I guess these guys are the same. So, I guess now I have a content warning. But let's just get back to the show.
Superman!
So, to start off this Michael Biehn themed podcast, I rewatched The Insatiable, a vampire film from 2006. Vampire comedy, I should say. And if I got the title wrong, I just want to repeat it. The Insatiable. Starring Sean Patrick Flannery. So we're talking 7 years removed from the Boondock Saints. And, you know, it's nice to see him play a dorky character. So it kind of balances things out, you know, with all of the hit charm he got from the Boondock Saints, which is a movie that really gets too much love, but I digress. So the story is about a salesman for a flange company, Harry Balbo, who moonlights as the superintendent of his apartment complex, just for that deduction on rent. And in this part of his neighborhood, there's a spree of headless victims, murder victims, I should say. And one night, checking on his convenient store buddy, who was boasting about having such wild sex with his new girlfriend, he finds the vampire and is immediately scratched, and she tastes his blood, so now she's got that entire bloodhound thing going. So he's desperate and using the internet as his only resource to find out if anybody can believe his story. He inadvertently runs into his downstairs neighbor, played by Michael Biehn, who is a Vietnam veteran, who is vampire hunting the best he can, being a L4 paraplegic. So, and let's just face it, he's a dorky character, so should say Sean Patrick Flannery's a dorky character. Michael Biehn picks up where he left off with Hicks. I have not seen The Abyss, so might be more along those lines. Again, digression. But being a wussy character, he can hunt the vampire down, but he can't kill her. So he decides the best thing to do is to set up a trap for her and basically keep her as a pet. And the awkwardness and hilarity ensues. Now, I wish after this rewatch that it was a little more madcap, because the pacing's a little off. We really don't need so much of his work life involved. I mean, we get a couple of scenes with his asshole fellow salesperson that, yeah, you want to see him get fed. So, but basically it's all about just trying to figure himself out as a dorky guy and who's got access to, despite it'll probably kill him, a hot woman. So, yeah, obviously being a guy who pretty much stuck around the strip club scene in Peoria for, gosh, I think about it, only 11 years too many. Then I moved out to Champaign, and just maybe once, twice a year. Again, digression. So, yeah, I can relate to the character in a sense, especially, you know, the asshole getting the girls and all that bollocks. And Michael Biehn, as I say, he's fun in what he's doing. I could have used more of him, you know, sequel-wise, figure out how to do that, I suppose. Sorry, spoiler. Michael Biehn at least makes it out. So, he gets the last lines for the most part, but then this film just finishes maybe 2 seconds over 100 minutes as they start the credits, and then, let's do a final stinger scene. So, there's nothing great about the direction, I'll be honest, and this rewatch, the special effects are definitely more noticeable as about how cheap they are. Again, it's CG when these directors don't quite know what to do with it. But the humor is there. I love the vampire dynamic about, you know, just trying to live with bloodsuckers. So I've watched a lot of movies, and I would say 50% of them are bad. But this one is fun. It's no masterpiece, but if you like Sean Patrick Flanery or Michael Biehn, I think you can enjoy this film.
Imagine if your fears were real.
I see images, and some of them are really violent.
If your dreams weren't dreams at all.
Come to me, Eddie.
Memories, but not memories of anything that ever really happened to me.
And your identity...
What is your name, Eddie?
...is the one they gave you.
Eddie, what happened? What?
It's like somebody else is living in my body.
I want you to take a crack at him tonight. Eddie K is about to discover he has 2 lives.
Hi, Eddie.
I don't know you.
We're operational. And both are in danger. Eddie K was a target. Now, he's a time bomb.
Don't move.
Time bomb.
And I've just concluded watching Time Bomb, which would be our second Julie Brown movie to be featured on 90 for Chill, the podcast. She's got a bit role, not even credited as a waitress, flirting with Michael Biehn in this movie. This movie is about Michael Bihn's character, Eddie K., who, after successfully rescuing a family from a apartment building that was on fire, he's gained attention of the CIA. And is immediately starts being attacked, be it a robbery gone wrong or just smashing him with a van. And with this, memories start coming out, which he just can't make any sense of. And with the assistance of Patsy Kensett's Dr. Anna Nomar, a cognitive psychologist, he tries to start piecing everything together. Of course, once you're let into a psych ward and the CIA knows it, it's time to skip all the subtle murder attempts and just start wasting anybody connected to you. So he's on the run. He needs to make sense of his identity, how he's a natural killing machine. So basically this is like, I would say, a made-for-TV, or I should say made-for HBO, Bourne Identity before the Bourne Identity, or I guess a better reference point would be Manchurian Candidate with all the brainwashing bollocks. So it's a fun Dino De Laurentiis movie, so that should tell you a bit about it. I think this is, again, another movie right at the end of the liquidation of that company, so yeah, the video doesn't look great. I should say it was shot on film, so definitely a lower stock. I thought this one may have been an Orion's Clearance movie about the same time, but no, it's an MGM. So Michael Biehn is good in it. It's really, he gets to play cute and charming for the first act, and then he goes total Kyle Reese. So this is for those who loved him in the Terminator and kind of wish that he wasn't just an inevitable casualty. The supporting cast is fun. Tracy Scoggins and Billy Blanks are other secret agents from this program that created our Eddie K character. But and action is actually, I'd say it's fairly well directed. It just seems rushed in all scenes, I guess. So that would mean, they're just trying to get this movie done. But, Michael Biehn had so much confidence in this feature that he took a pay cut for it and military training. So, you got to admire that commitment. So that would be just a fun... I've never watched it beginning to end, so I didn't know about Julie Brown until this recent watching. It's great background noise. I caught it on Encore, I think, back in the day. I know it's on Stream, or I think Screen Picks is the Xfinity MGM service. So it's, as I say, good background noise. You get a fair amount of female nudity for the juvenile... Well, I would have been 11 when this movie came out, so... it would have been up my alley. So, yeah, it's just a bit of fun. You gotta admire any movie which has a shootout in a porno theater.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
After a 10-hour workday, it's about 11 p.m. when I finally get around to finalizing my podcast and uploading it to the internet. So I definitely need a lot of energy, but I don't need all that caffeine, so I rely on Dubby Jitterless Energy Blend. It's a coffee fruit extract, so you get about as much caffeine as a cup of coffee, but you get all the vitamins you could possibly wish for and all the energy, and about half the price. If you spend $4 a shift on energy drinks, you're spending $80 on sugar per month. Why don't you cut that in half and try Dubby Energy Blend? And if you go and visit Dubby.gg and use the promo code CatBusRuss at checkout, you're going to save yourself 10%. So on top of spending half the money, you can at least go and get one over on the taxman. So that's Dubby.gg, promo code CatBusRuss, and start feeling energized today.
Jessica Kim, who was recently reported missing by her sister Lisa Kim.
It's like 4 girls that have just vanished in the last year. Are you coming or not? Don't I always?
She's dead. I know she's dead, damn it! What about the other one? Go get her.
Please,
Who's chasing?
Please! Please, they killed my friend!
Hide.
Without her body, there is no crime!
What are you yelling at me for?
You are in this neck deep, and you know it!
What are you doing?
You're not gonna like where I put it next.
You are crossing a line that you cannot come back from.
Anything for law enforcement.
And I've just concluded a rewatch of The Victim. I'd say it's probably been close to 10 years since I saw this movie, so I think it's fair to take a look at it again. It's that, or I go and do a movie where Michael Biehn's definitely just a supporting character, and I think that we did that enough with the review for The Insatiable. So, The Victim actually is more of an ode to Robert Rodriguez. I mean, he even thanks Rodriguez for the inspiration at the end of the credits. And you can see where he got it. He pretty much does Michael Biehn is the writer-director, pretty much does this movie on a very low budget. But I'm surprised how much crew there was. They all get video credits at the end, so very appreciative. So it's kind of a passion project for Michael Biehn, and kind of gets weird when, you know, you have a sex scene with your lover at the time, then wife, and I think they were already together, so it's kind of like showing off the goods, I suppose. Just a little weird, I suppose. But The Victim is about Michael Bihn's character, Kyle, probably an ode to the Terminator, of course, and he's just living a reclusive hermit life in the woods, and then suddenly Annie, a woman, is banging on his door, having run away from the cops she was partying with her best friend Mary, and we end up opening this film with Mary getting her neck snapped because she was antagonistic to one of the cops during the act of intercourse. So, disturbing concept to start with. But the story holds up well enough. The acting could have probably been better, at least from some of the supporters, but Michael Bihn's given his all. And the dialogue is effective. Nothing too clever. There is a nice ode to Unforgiven by the end of it. So, a lot of tongue-in-cheek stuff on Michael Biehn. It's more or less this is definitely a film where you know it's just the director trying to have fun. So, you take that for what it is. As I say, it's very little budget. There's times where I think we have way too much driving sequences being recorded. Think definitely not as bad as Birdemic, but think that. So, but otherwise it flows pretty well. It's only an hour 20, an hour 23, but, you know, it gets what it wants to do done quickly. And that's not a bad thing. If you can't create Desperado, then, you know, you settle on El Mariachi. So, definitely not as great a director as Robert Rodriguez, but, you know, it's fun to at least get these credits out of the way, I guess, when you're, at that time, 56, I suppose. And so you just gotta take this as a B movie, and you should be able to enjoy yourself. So it's not high art, but I would say maybe more artistic than, say, Time Bomb. Honestly, I think this would be a nice sequel. What Happened to Eddie K? So that, I think, will do it.
Can I hear a wahoo?
This podcast was made possible by the love and support of Dave and Cindy Stevens, Rory Stevens and Allison Higgins, Danny Daniels, and Stephanie Smith.
Long live Flash! You've saved your ass. Have a nice day.